So what's your best elevator-based joke?
There's no point. You have to wait for the punchline. Give it a minute. There it is.
Do you know what mine is?
What?
Do you know what mine is?
What is it?
Mine's Doctor, my wife thinks she's an elevator. Well, tell her to come see me. I can't. She doesn't stop on this floor.
Oh, that's a good one. Dad joke that. Look after it. It's an antique. Right. According to all statistics relevant to the matter, elevators are literally one of the safest forms of transport on planet Earth. A fact that can be credited to the tireless work of one man, Elisha Graves Otis. The inventor of, well, the safety elevator, a device he inexplicably had trouble selling to the public until he demonstrated its use in the most badass way possible.
Before we get to Otis,
Yes.
I find it kind of hard to believe that literally every form of transportation is beaten in safety by an elevator.
Oh yeah, including walking, I should point out, because like walking is more dangerous than taking an elevator. Like the amount of deaths, like yearly, caused by elevators are so low that it's considered basically a statistical anomaly. And for people who prefer hard facts, your chances of being killed during any given elevator ride is this percent.
Oh, I thought you were going to go for it.
Well, no, because I can't remember how many zeros it is. I know it's like 0.000000015% maybe, if I'm recalling the article correctly. But obviously you can put the exact number below. But and I should point out as well, this figure down here is actually higher than it would be for a member of the general public because it's thrown off by the fact that the majority of people killed by rogue elevators are elevator repairmen. So if you discount those deaths and just consider the actual risk to a member of the public riding, a working elevator, you are actually statistically more likely to die of a heart attack while taking the elevator during the 2 minutes it takes you to take it than you are during the ride itself.
The thing is, you say that, I reckon that other things that could happen to you in an elevator are probably also higher than a death in an elevator.
But it's more
like slipping over and banging your head.
It's more like the specific 2 minute ride. Yeah. You are more likely to have a heart attack in that 2 minutes and die before help gets to you than you are from the elevator ride itself. And that plays into a statistic that I love. Because do you know what the most dangerous activity you do every single day is, Brad? We had to hazard a guess. Like you walked here, what do you think is the most dangerous thing you did today? Do you think like crossing the road, maybe? Something like that?
I'm going to throw a curveball then, seeing as is it sleeping?
No, walking downstairs.
Really?
Walking downstairs is the singular most dangerous activity probably in the world, given how many people get injured and die doing it.
I mean, to be fair, I've fallen down the stairs a few times.
Yeah, that's the thing, but people who fall downstairs, it's a catastrophic injury, because obviously you do it every single day. You can say something like, maybe like playing a sport is more dangerous, but you don't play a sport 15 times a day. People walk up and down the stairs so often that your odds of being injured by it just increase.
On paper, all these other things, like getting tackled in sports, they're all more dangerous.
Yes.
But stairs you do every single day.
Yeah, 15 times a day, yeah. That's why it's considered one of the most dangerous activities you partake in every single day. And you can look up, if people are interested, because I've done this for research for articles, the statistics for injuries around the home, and the stairs are fucking deadly. They actually, they are the number one killer of people over 60. The fucking stairs, man. So obviously if you fall down the stairs and you're old, that's your hip gone. And obviously when you're old, you can't recover from that shit like you did when you were a young man. You're fucking done, mate. Stairs are the number one predator of humanity. I swear down, bungalows are the future, but at the same time, you can dramatically increase your chance of breaking your hip by living in a bungalow. Because the act of walking upstairs every day is considered minor exercise. And obviously as an older person, that's really good for you. Which is obviously why...
confusing the old people, Karl. They can't
crazy,
live in bungalows, they
well,
can't have stairs.
There's a statistic that says living in just walking up a flight of stairs every single day is this minor bit of cardio that raises your heart rate. So people who live in bungalows die earlier because they don't have that minor cardio exercise of walking up and down stairs 10 times a day.
My house has 3 floors. Does that mean I get loads of exercise?
You'll be all right, then you'll be fine. But at the same time, you're also much higher at risk of dying. So the solution there is obviously just take the fucking elevator.
I felt like during that conversation we were marching towards a Photoshop.
Oh, okay.
Killer stairs.
Killer stairs.
I'm thinking horror movie poster. What do you reckon?
What, for killer stairs?
Yeah.
Well, no, because that would be the poster. It's the inverse of the poster for the Killer Elevator film, where the tagline is "Just take the stairs." She's like, "Well, you're telling us on the poster how to defeat the primary enemy of this movie. That's not very good." So I don't see killer stairs being that dangerous. What I'm thinking now is though, stairs are dangerous, but we can conquer them with the stair lift, can't we? But at the same time, there's gremlins. where there's the stair lift thing that flies the old woman out the window. So I'm now thinking, like, what can we use to try and conquer the stairs that won't turn on us? Because obviously the stair lift, the gremlins can get us. So let's make a Photoshop around that.
Okay.
Let's create the deadliest set of stairs in history, Brad. So obviously you've got the stair lift on the stairs, but there's a gremlin underneath it, which is ready. If you try and take that, which will fling you out the window. Like, what can you have on some of those steps to make walking up those stairs the most dangerous stairs in the fucking world?
Home Alone.
Oh, which
got to have the nail.
With the specific big nail and the fucking thing on it. I'm going to say a banana peel.
Oh.
You've got to have a banana peel on one of them.
We've got plenty of steps to put one thing on each.
Oh, yeah. So we've got the banana peel, a Lego brick on one. Not to kill you, just to annoy you. I think on one of the stairs as well, it should just not have a stair. So do you know that thing when you walk down a flight of stairs, it's a double stair and you don't realise it?
Yeah.
And it completely just takes you out of the moment and nearly kills you. Like, you do it and your foot lands, and for that brief moment, you're like, that's it, it's game over. Tell my wife I love her.
When you say there shouldn't be a stair, there should also be one where the literal step is, like, missing. Like in Not Another Teen Movie, when she goes through the stairs.
No, it just completely collapses down the stairs. Yeah. Like, what else can we have on these stairs to make this the deadly? I say, we're thinking too small though, Bryce. What we need now is the giant swinging blades from like Prince of Persia or some shit that you've got to jump through. And then on top of that, jokes, fuck it, the laser hallway from Resident Evil. Go right at the top, ready to come down. So you have to like Leon Kennedy your way through it.
Well, seeing as this is coming out in quite a long time, you've seen the most recent Game of Thrones, right?
Yes, I have.
So you know when Drogon goes over Daenerys' shoulder before she says Dracarys?
Yeah.
That at the top.
Okay, so you've got a dragon just peeking over the top, ready.
And we've all seen the Changeling where the stairs set on fire, so fire all the way up. Do you reckon? Do you reckon that's dangerous enough?
I think it's though, we started small with like a Lego brick, and now we're just like, no, fuck it, put a dragon at the top and lasers. You know what? Yeah, that's the most deadly set of stairs in history. Like, taking those stairs is probably more dangerous than an elevator.
Just imagine if you were at the bottom and you were like going step by step and you stepped over the nail and you stepped past the Lego and you were like, I think I can do this.
And then the laser hallway starts coming.
The blade starts swinging in. You just hear Dracarys from above you.
Just Resident Evil 4 starts happening. You're like, oh, fuck this.
So considering this is a big box hanging from a string,
yes.
Why is it so safe?
Because elevators have a stupidly sophisticated array of safety features, all of which have backups and redundancies. And the best example of this I can use are the steel cables that hold the elevator up. And I think most elevators use 7 cables, but the number varies, depending on where you are in the world. But for the most part, generally speaking, one of those cables can hold up the entire elevator when it is fully laden. It's just that they put more than one in because people don't want to ride it if there is more. Like, if you see it hanging by one cable, you don't feel very secure. So they basically put in just cables for show. They are there for no other reason than to make people feel safer, because the one single cable can hold the entire fucking thing. Another one is that the weight limit of most elevators is complete nonsense, because as I said, like, there's 7 fucking cables usually, so it can hold 7 times the maximum stated weight. It's just they put that so obviously to stop the elevator getting overcrowded, which is why some elevators, they don't even have a weight limit, they just have like a person limit. Yeah. Because they know, like, it doesn't matter how, it's more just for the comfort of the people riding it. There's a lot of other features we could talk about, but I just like the cable one, because you know that only exists because like an engineer at some point was cornered by, like, you know, a guy building, like, you know, an office block or something. I don't like the look of that elevator, don't look very safe. And you have to sit down and tell them, look, mate, each one of these cables is individually strong enough to hold up the elevator at twice capacity. Like, it's fine. And he goes, no, you need to put more cables in. It's like, and he thought, like, it's easier to put more cables in than it is to explain to this chuckle fuck, like, the mechanics of what it's like, you know what, fine, we'll put more cables in. It's like that moment in Friends. It's like, oh, there's no phalange on the plane. Rather than try and explain the phalange is not a thing on a plane, just say, no, we put more in.
We put extra phalanges just in case.
Just in case, yeah, there's thousands of phalanges on this thing. I imagine it like that.
Well, not just Friends, there's a lot of things in real life that are similar.
Yes.
Like a loading screen on a computer, like, that's clearly not the computer's actually, like, working through the screen. That's for the viewer to be like, oh, I've got 70% done.
Yeah, and obviously it's not so much an issue now, but back in the day when computers weren't as powerful as they are, the loading screen was something like engineers and stuff in fucking hated, because obviously it took up like RAM that the computer could use, but you had to have it to show the user that something's happening inside the machine, because without that they felt like, oh no, something's gone wrong. It's not, I don't have any visual feedback. Or another one is the button at traffic stops, just like change the light. Most of the time they do fucking nothing. Like, they are there so you feel like you're doing something rather than just stood like a fucking lemon for 10 minutes. Like, it's there purely just so you don't get annoyed. And engineers knew that if they didn't put it in there, people would complain. And to bring it back to safety features, I think electric cars is another one where in some electric cars, they artificially pipe in engine noises when you press the pedal down to give you that audio feedback, because people are so used to the engine making noise when they press the pedal that in electric cars they can't pass like what they're doing or how fast they're going, and that's really fucking dangerous.
It's the same with gas.
Yeah.
To quote Ross's best chat off.
To bring it back to Friends, yeah.
Yeah, the gas is odourless, but they add odour so that you can tell if there's a leak in the house.
Yeah, it's there purely for safety, and it serves no practical function. But I like the one about cars where they have to pipe in artificial engine noises, and they say it's so people have like, you know, the feedback they're used to with that combustion engine car. But you know it's also for those dickheads who want to hear the engine. It's like if they just like press the button and it just goes and they fly off. That doesn't sound very satisfying. They can't have that Vin Diesel moment where like, you know, revs up the engine and the entire car rattles to pieces, even though that it's future as fuck. So they put it in for those douchebags.
I mean, imagine if the car made zero noise, like at all.
I think that's cooler.
You got Vin Diesel in his new car, like smart out the window trying to rev it up and nothing's happening.
I think it's cooler that the car makes no noise because it sounds and looks so much more high tech that it just flies off like something out of Tron. But no, like there's dickheads out there like, I need my engine noise. If it's louder, it's more powerful. That's how it works. And they put some in for those guys. It's similar to, like, you'll get people who put, like, drill holes in their exhausts, which is a thing people do to make their exhaust sound louder so the engine sounds more powerful.
My brother had an accidental one in his exhaust that he had to get repaired, and the car sounded horrendous.
But people like it because obviously if it's loud, it must be powerful, even though if it's loud, it's inefficient because it means the energy from the engine is not being utilised, it's not being put to the wheels where it belongs. So actually, it makes your car sound shitter, which is why electric cars sound so cool to me. And they just go, it's like, that's what you want. You don't hear a fucking engine or Formula 1 car, do you? It's too far away, it's too fast, it's gone.
You hear it for a second.
Yeah, it's gone. That's how fast it is.
The only time you can hear it is if all of them are going past at once and it makes it sound like it was one sound.
Do you know they actually like acoustically tune the engines of like Formula 1 cars? So they sound nice. Yeah. Ferrari acoustically tunes its engine so they sound nice. But they do it on like really high-end cars as well. Like, they actually bring in sound engineers to tune the engine because obviously they want it to sound like as pleasing as possible. And that's the thing they do. You can look it up. I'm not making this shit. It sounds so fake, doesn't it?
I guess it makes sense.
If you've got a super high-end luxury vehicle and it sounds like shit, you don't want to drive it. Every aspect of the ride has to be as luxurious as possible. They bring in sound engineers and they tune the engine like they would a piano.
I love it when they do it the alternate way, though, like in Only Fools and Horses. They had to add in, they built the car because the car was too good.
Oh, yeah.
They put in noises, and they added a button to make it explode at the back.
So obviously the car itself has to function for the purposes of filming, but it needs to look shit. But I love that they tune the engine. I think someone out there is Ferrari engineers actually played a song on a Ferrari engine. So if you want to put that in, because that's quite cool. I think it's more just a flex on other manufacturers to show like this is how finely tuned our engine is. We can play a fucking song on it.
So without further ado,
yes.
How does Elijah Graves Otis come into the elevator safety story?
Because he invented the granddaddy of all elevator safety equipment, the brake basically, and his was like a spring-based one that was held, I guess like, what's the opposite of being sprung?
Unsprung?
Unsprung by the tension of the rope holding the elevator up, and if that tension was to be removed, say by the rope snapping, the spring would spring out. It's really confusing. What's the terminology with a spring?
I'm pretty sure there is a word for it. I don't think unsprung is.
Is it unsprung? Because it's coiled, isn't it? When the spring is coiled, it's held under tension. But when that tension is released, like the spring springs out, and it would snap to the side of the elevator shaft and lock the elevator in place, thereby stopping it from falling and killing everybody inside. And this sounds like something so basic that it was probably invented the day after the fucking elevator. Because why would you ride an elevator that didn't have even the most basic piece of safety equipment like attached to it to stop you dying? But it wasn't. And it's reported that Otis ended up designing it because when he was working in a factory somewhere, he noticed that none of the workmen would dare take the elevator or use any of like the hoist and pulley system to cart heavy loads. They'd rather carry it because they were that worried about it snapping and killing everybody. Like they had so little faith in it, they refused to take this system. They do it the hard way rather than using the device specifically invented to make the job easier because the risk to their lives was deemed too great. And he went, well, that's fucking stupid. Let's make a system to obviously make the elevator safer and to the safety brake he made. all elevators today have a similar system. Obviously, it's more sophisticated, but like Otis is the guy who thought, well, maybe this device should not fucking kill people if it fails. Maybe there should be at least one redundancy there to stop it killing everybody, which just seems like common sense, but obviously common sense isn't that common. And there are loads of inventions like the famous one is like the can opener was invented like 70 years after the can. So people figured out to put food in cans, but not have to open the can without like smashing a rock against it or some shit. It's so dumb, isn't it?
Well, if we're talking safety features, seatbelts weren't in the first cars, were they?
Yeah, and I think it was a private company that invented them. I can't remember the company, it's going to annoy me. I think it was Vauxhall maybe, the 3-point seatbelt, and they were going to patent it, and then they went, we could, but it's kind of dickish to patent a device that saves lives, so fuck it. This one's on us.
And one of the rare circumstances where a company will do something for the good of people.
Yeah, you can look up the exact company. It might be Vauxhall, but basically the 3-point seatbelt was something they could have absolutely patented it. They decided not to for the common good and said, well, this is a device we standard in all cars. We don't mind.
Now you've got companies that will patent medicine so other people can't make it to save lives.
Yeah, and then you go back to the penicillin, where the guy who invented penicillin was like, well, I could patent it, but why the fuck would I? That's horrendous. It's like, it's the common good. Anyone can have this, I don't mind. Give as many people as you can this thing. It is world-changing in its scope.
There's a spawn of that, where there's a guy who's like, this medicine will save hundreds of thousands, millions. I'm going to release it for free, and the company's like, no.
We can make a profit. Well, it's a fucking plot line in the first season of Iron Fist, where they say, oh yeah, here's a medicine that we can sell, and Iron Fist's like, no, don't be a fucking dick. And then for some reason, they frame the episode as making the evil, dickish businessman right, when he says, but we can fund the profits from, the medicine into new research. It's like, who fucking wrote this scene? You can tell Disney's got its fingers in Marvel, can't it? It's like, sometimes it's okay to, just sell things for a profit that are for, human good. It's like, no, fuck you, give it away. It's supposed to be free. You assholes. The thing is, I ended up siding with that businessman because I hated Danny Rand so much in that show. He was such a shit character.
I actually ended up liking Danny Rand because I felt so sorry for Finn Jones about the build-up to it.
Yeah,
even though he was an asshole about it on Twitter.
So it's a show for the fans. So you're saying fans don't deserve good shows, Finn Jones? What's that about, mate? Dick.
So I'm assuming the second he announced he had this world-changing device, all of the companies who owned elevators were like, give me one.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But no. And Otis apparently had trouble selling any company on the benefits of his device. And he was really annoyed about this. So what he did is he made his own elevator company and went to the 1854 New York World's Fair to show off his device.
So how did he demonstrate this? It seems kind of awkward to demonstrate an elevator stopping brake.
Yeah, you could showcase the brake, but no. Otis wanted to do something more dramatic, more visual. So what he did is he actually constructed an elevator shaft in the middle of the exhibition hall and had an elevator put into it and stood on it himself and had it hoisted about 24 feet up into the air and then started working the crowd, trying to get people to gather round to tell them he was going to show them something that was going to blow their fucking minds. So let's set the scene. Otis is there. He notices that there's a sizable amount of people watching. He's Willy Wonka in the crowd, get them all excited and hyped up. Points down to an assistant no one's noticed yet holding an axe, who just so happens to be stood next to the rope holding the entire elevator up into the air. Otis then instructs that assistant to cut the rope with the axe as he stands there completely motionless. And we don't know how he was stood, but I would presume he was stood with his arms crossed like a Japanese mob boss about to beat someone the fuck down.
So the assistant then cuts the rope with the axe.
Yes, and the elevator drops about an inch, if that, before Otis's invention springs into action and locks it in place. Obviously, the crowd gather. This is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. They all whoop and cheer. Because according to contemporary reports, they lost their fucking shit. And what Otis did then is he told the crowd and gathered media, if you want to have peace of mind riding an elevator, like I did just then, make sure you only ride elevators that are, my safety device equipped. Unfortunately, there is only one elevator company in the world at the moment that has the rights to sell this invention. Mine. So as you can imagine, after that, Otis never had trouble selling his invention ever again.
That sales pitch is on another level.
That isn't it. It's like, fuck you. Oh yeah, there's only one device in the world that can stop you falling to your death horribly in an elevator, in the event of catastrophic elevator failure, which happens all the time, and it's mine. And there's only one company that can sell it, and it's mine. And now you've all seen it work. Fuck you, give me money. It's like, fuck you, pay me. Just personified, I love it.
I love how my pun just went right over your head as well.
It's fine. It wasn't very good.
It was great.
I heard it. I'm not elevating that pun beyond. Like,
I'm not getting into a pun war with you. Yeah. I'm happy to throw a couple in.
There we go, exactly.
But if the pun war begins, I'm leaving.
You want to start?
Yeah.
Don't push my buttons, mate. Doors closing on the chance for a pun battle.
You got to appreciate the balls on someone to do a sales pitch like that.
Yeah, put your own life at risk to demonstrate, like, the use of your invention. And there are plenty of stories of stuff like this out there in the world, and I fucking love all of them. A famous one is the guy who invented. You've probably seen videos of it online, and it's like, the bandsaw, where if a finger touches the bandsaw, it automatically turns off. You can put the clip out there, because the guy who invented it shows it off at trade shows. Or he doesn't have to anymore, because obviously there's videos out there and doing it. But when he first invented it, he noticed that, loads of people accidentally cut their fingers off on these things every year. And he invented a device that basically runs a current through the saw, and if anything completes the current, say like, a soft, fleshy human finger, there's a device that basically stops the device dead and snaps the saw in half. Like a saw blade worth about $15. Your finger, you fucking need that shit, don't you? So he said, like, this is a device that basically eliminates this risk from like sawing shit forever. And he apparently tried to say it's like Black & Decker, and they said, we don't really see the benefits of this device because it'll increase the price of our bandsaws. So like Elisha Graves Otis, he went out and just made his own fucking saw, took it to trade shows and showed people like, like that thing of accidentally cutting your finger off that happens on every other saw currently for sale in the world. Here's mine. Boop. Just puts his finger in, it just stops. And he says after he did it, people came up and just shook his hand and went, like with fingers missing, saying, I wish I'd known about this device earlier. I've been doing this shit for years, and even like experts like me still make this mistake. This is such a good invention. I can't believe that like Black & Decker was stupid enough not to buy it, because they obviously said like they cared about profits. If someone cuts their finger off with their device, they don't give a fuck, do they?
Make a fucking great Dragon's Den pitch, wouldn't it? Or a Shark Tank, is it?
Just walk, in America.
Imagine just turning it on, just putting your finger on it and going, how much?
There's loads of stuff like that. It's, another one is, I think it's in the UK. There's this company, I forget the name of it, but you can find the guy's videos because they are fucking amazing. And it's like personal protective equipment, like PPE, and like stuff like stab-proof vests and things like that. And the guy who owns the company appears in videos wearing his own safety equipment, where his like employees try and swing it in with an axe. Like, he lets people do that to showcase how like stab-proof his stab-proof vests are. And I think one of them, he actually hits himself in the chest with a knife, like proper like harakiri it up, and it's like, don't work. This is how fucking good it is.
I mean, it would stop the knife, but it would still fucking hurt. If someone hit you with an axe, you're going to bruise your arm.
That's the point, isn't it, though? But would you rather have a bruised arm or an axe in the chest?
I'm more just talking about the balls on that guy to take a hit like that, because he's going to have a massive bruise on his arm for the sake of...
well, that's how you sell shit, man. If you want to sell something, you got to take the risk. And I think there's another video out there. And the guy said, we sell bulletproof windows. I give my employee an AK-47, I want to sit behind one, as he tries to take a headshot. And the guy sits behind it and it's fine. It's ballsy as fuck, and I respect the damn hell out of it, mostly because it's the owner of the company in these cases doing it. They don't get an employee, they step in and go, no, I'm so confident, I personally am going to put my own life at risk to demonstrate how fucking good this is. I think there's another one that's like safety jeans. And like the owner of the company who makes the safe jeans again gets dragged behind a motorcycle for like 500 yards to show they won't like rip your legs apart.
That series of adverts that involved Van Damme on those trucks.
Yes.
One of them was the CEO of the company stood on the front of a truck as it was hanging from a hook from a crane, and he did that because he was like, this hook will support our hook on the front of our truck.
Yeah.
Will support so many tons that I am completely safe doing this.
Yeah. And as well, that's really good fucking advertising because it's visually arresting. It's like, you can tell me a phone is waterproof and I'll be like, is it though? But if you I think it was Samsung one year, maybe, or Sony, they did an unboxing video underwater. It's like, yeah, you know what, now I believe that phone's waterproof. Or when do you remember the Nokia 3210 remake they did? The first thing Nokia invited a lot of like tech journalists who got first hands on with it is throw it out the window. That's the first thing they told people to do, because obviously the reliability and the durability of the Nokia 3210 is so legendary. They handed it over to journalists who then immediately threw it out of like a one-story window to showcase that. Because they were like, you know what, fuck yeah, we do enough tests. Do it. We want you to. We want you to do that. We want you to put that video online to showcase what the fucking work we've put in. That shit's amazing, man. I want more stuff like that.